What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Survivor Now podcast. My name is Randy. Tonight I am joined by Josh. No Bruce, no Abraham. The two are off on some Survivor adventures. I know Abraham is in Orlando and Bruce is in Boston for Bryson Wynn Present. So tonight it is the super fans holding down the fort and talking about this episode. And we have Josh back. So excited for that as well. How are you doing, Josh?
I'm okay. It was objectively a good episode. Let me say that. You can't argue with that. Whatever. I did lose my final draft pick, and not only my final draft pick, I felt really good about Caroline too. I was rooting for her, and I thought she was playing a really great game and a really well positioned game. And there was just a lot of things that didn't go her way tonight. So that was a real bummer for me that it ended up being. That she was a casualty of this move that people are going to be talking about for a long time, I'm sure. But can't complain. Always loved the opportunity to be here and talk about my favorite show. So
we haven't got a chance to talk about you in Chicago for Bryson Wynn Present.
Yes.
So how was that?
It was really fun. Really, really fun. There was a good amount of the cast there. I might have met Caroline's cousin, I think. And it was a really great experience doing that. It's getting to see some of the other players or their close family members, but it was the energy was insane. It was so much fun to be in an environment like that with former players and just tons of fans who were all there for the same reason. It was a great time. It was my first time ever going to a Bryson Wynn event, and I hope it's not the last. It was awesome.
I was so close to going, and it would have been amazing to finally meet outside of the computer podcasting world. I was close. Bryson Wynn, they needed some help and they needed a door person, and I was this close to doing it. I had an MRI scheduled that day, so I couldn't make the drive on time, but I was going to be the door person. So, I was working on my bodyguard build and everything to get prepared for that. Well, welcome everybody else who's joining us today. You can interact with us throughout the entire podcast tonight by hopping in our Ancient Voices chat. Let me see some of the comments. I mean, you guys got going very early here. Brian adds in, oh my God, legendary move. Didn't expect the Andy, Sam, and Genevieve Alliance to be my favorite this season, even if I like them individually. Let's see. Oh, he adds in, FYI, I'm talking a lot now because I'll be too busy to type while listening. That's very fair. Kyler's in the chat. Very solid episode. Georgette is here. Hi, everyone. So keep those comments coming, guys, whether you're watching on X, whether you're watching on SurvivorNowPodcast.com, YouTube. Have those chats in. We'll show them throughout the show. Josh, you said a subjectively good episode. I think the hype was a little ruined for this episode because I said it on the pre-show with Avery. I can't remember who tweeted it out, but someone saw the episode early and said this is the best episode of the new era.
It was Gordon Holmes.
Was it Gordon Holmes?
Gordon Holmes, yeah.
I wouldn't say I was going to say I wouldn't say it was the best of the new era. I wouldn't even say it's the best this season. But I did see a few other comments on X before going live here that people were freaking out. Oh my God, the gameplay, incredible. This episode is the best one I've seen in a long time. I thought it was good. I thought it was a solid Survivor episode. I just wasn't blown out of the water in the end.
Yeah, I do think that the way that they were leading up to the whole thing, giving it a name, calling it Operation Italy because they're eating Italian food, which first of all, guys, the Italian Job is right there. Pretty early 2000s movie about a hike. It's right there. I don't know how you but that's neither here nor there, I guess. So there was a lot of building up to it, and then there was that tweet out there about how it's the best episode of the new era, and just a lot of that build up of okay, I feel like this is going to happen. There's no way they're going to build all that up just for be psych, that's not happening, because I feel like that would, I don't know, make fans upset or something. I don't know. I don't think they want to lead people on like that too much. So yeah, I did kind of sit the whole time. I was like, I think this is going to work, especially in the pre-tribal scramble. I was just really hoping once Rachel won immunity, I'm like, okay, well, hopefully they'll go after Teeny and not Caroline. But
yeah, you got
that's
a bias in there. I mean,
I was so definitely biased for sure.
I also, once I saw that tweet, I was like, there's no way this is an easy Genevieve or Sam vote out today.
Yeah,
there's no
for
way.
Sure. I'm like, okay, maybe like Rachel uses her block a vote, and then like Andy gets caught red-handed, and then they have to like go into a revote, or maybe like Sue does play her idol for Caroline, which like, Carla, you were right there. You called it. You said you wanted to do it. Like, what happened? Why didn't you do that? Oh man, yeah. So I was like kind of gaslighting myself that whole time to just be like, no. Well, something else is gonna happen. Like you're gonna throw a wrench in.
An idol's gonna get played.
Gonna work. Yeah.
Sue has her idol for Caroline that could have got played.
She said it. She called it. She was, oh man.
Frustrating times. Let's see. Anthony's in the chat. I agree with Randy. Wes says, I need on one of these seasons. I can talk game better than anyone. I don't know if you're talking Survivor or the podcast, but would love to have you on sometime, Wes. Just let us know. We'll hook something up. And then also adds in, how does Rachel get fooled by Sam and Andy twice? Okay, that's the first thing I want to talk on here.
Yeah.
After this episode, and everyone knows that I've been very outspoken about Andy, and it really started last week. So, Josh, I'm very interested to hear your opinion on this. I said, if Andy ends up winning this season, which a lot of people want him to, a lot of people think he can, I will wear a full chicken outfit to Bryson Wynn Presents next year during whatever event I go to.
Yeah.
I don't think he has the respect of the rest of the players, no matter the amazing game he's playing, because this was another, like, he's chaotic, but he is pulling off some incredible moves. I'm more convinced after this episode that we are up for an epic showdown these last couple of weeks for this 2-part finale, and there's 2 people. One of these 2 women are going to win this season, Genevieve or Rachel. One of those 2 is winning. I'm almost convinced one of those 2 are winning this season. I want to hear what you think, because a lot of people think Andy's name needs to be in that conversation.
Yeah, there's definitely a very vocal contingent of Andy truthers out there, like, on Twitter and Blue Sky or whatever platform you're talking about Survivor on. And I wasn't really seeing it. But after this episode, I am seeing it a little bit more, with him talking about his perception from the beginning and how he's flipping that and changing that and just trying to like put himself out there to like earn the respect. And I don't know. I mean, it seems like that, at least in the initial response, when people are like, oh man, Andy did that. If they see it as a good move, it was definitely a flashy move, that's for sure, pulling off a 3-2-2 vote at the final 7. I don't know. I think that he definitely could use this to gain some respect, and I think he's very aware of his narrative and like what he needs to do to it, and think in ways that like Owen in 43 and Jake in 45 were like not able to like overcome that early like Charlie Brown status. I think that Andy has more like to his credit at this point, and I don't know. I mean, I can see it. I don't know. I still. Yeah, I after this episode, I mean, it's still really fresh. I mean, just episode ended 20 minutes ago, and here we are talking about it. But
yeah,
I can see it. I'm like higher on him now than I was when going into this episode. I thought I was pretty locked in on Caroline as the winner, but also I'm like, okay, it's got to be like Caroline or Rachel, one of those 2. Don't super see it for Sam. Don't super see it for Teeny. Definitely not Sue. So like, I was that's the one. I mean, Sue, love her. She's like, she's been fun, but she's not winning this. So I don't know. He could do it. Like Marianne is another one who a few seasons ago she was kind of like lying low, not taken super seriously by everybody, and then pulls off this great like 3-2-2 move to take off a more subtle threat like down at the end of the game, and then use that to like really like win the respect of people. It seems like Andy could do that too. His move at the right time if he can make it to the end. And I don't know. I think he has a shot.
This was the episode. I agree with you 1,000%. I started getting nervous. I was like, Am I going to end up wearing this chicken outfit? Like, I'm starting to get nervous because watching Andy this episode, I mean, yes, I keep acknowledging that he has been playing a great game, especially from where he started. I'm calling it one of the greatest Survivor comeback stories that we've ever seen. One of them. Because
we talked about it after the premiere.
Yeah.
Like, how it could go. Yeah.
And he has completely turned this game around. And he made a couple moves that you're looking at. I'm like, wow, Andy is actually a competent player. Like he knows what he's doing out there. But now it's getting to the point where it feels like each and every episode, he's flipping on people and then nothing comes out of it. And maybe that goes to my argument about like, no one has that respect. Everyone's just looking at Andy as kind of the jester of the group. We'll take him to the end because we can win against Andy. I still see Andy as the 0 vote finalist just because of the respect that he's getting from game respect. That's what I'm talking about. Game respect he's getting from his other players and the people on the jury. But I mean, you can't deny the fact that each and every week it's like Andy's like, this plan doesn't work for me. I'm going to make this move. And he does it, and he gets it done each and every week. And if he can make it to the final 3 and put together a good argument, which I believe he can, he seems like a very well-spoken gentleman. Like, I think he could get to the end and put a compelling case. I think the thing that really does scare me is the mayor of Ponderosa is Sierra, which a lot of times that does have something to do with where the votes tend to lead, whoever that mayor of Ponderosa is, because they have a big say on who they think should win. Being the first one at Ponderosa, they're also the person getting, most of the information from people leaving the game, and they can kind of sway the jury's opinions in a sense. That hurts Andy because I don't see Sierra voting for Andy.
Yeah, I don't see her voting for Andy either. And I mean, I guess it remains to be seen how much sway she could have, but some of the stuff where I don't know, some of the things that they've shown us, and then even I don't know if we're counting like the Ponderosa videos, like that CBS is posting as canon or not. But yeah, I mean, it seems like she's definitely not a big Andy fan, and I don't know. I guess you could debate like how much sway the mayor of Ponderosa actually has. But yeah, I think it's no matter what, it's going to be an uphill battle for him, especially if he's like in the end with like even one of like Sam, Genevieve, or Rachel. If he's even with one of them, it's going to be a pretty uphill battle. I do think his easiest path at this point is probably being there with Teeny and Sue.
Which it's like, is that a route that he can take? Because I think, and we're going to get to it, but I'm pretty sure Rachel solidified herself in the final 4. Unless she royally messes this up, she has an immunity idol that still has not been played. If she gets with Sue and is like, yo, we're on the bottom now, Sue also has an immunity idol, which has not been played, that maybe they could use to benefit them in a sense. And she has a steal a vote. So that's why I texted you guys in the group chat that we have as soon as Rachel won immunity. And that's why I was like, I'm pretty sure that Rachel booked her way to the final 4 and at least at a shot at fire making, which I said this earlier on the pre-show. If Rachel wins fire making, I think she's locked it up. And that's coming from someone who's a little biased. Obviously, I want Genevieve to win, to be like, I told everybody that was my winner pick. But I think if Rachel wins fire, that locks up the game for her. And I almost feel the same with Genevieve. So it's almost like, as much as people say Andy, could be the winner this season, he's probably going to win, yada, yada, yada. I don't think he's the favorite. Like, that's why I really wanted to start the podcast and being like, there's 2 people, Genevieve and Rachel. I think one of these 2 are winning, and I would be very shocked. I mean, maybe next week I'll be eating my words, or it would be the following week. Maybe I'll be eating my words coming up. Maybe they're the next 2 people to go, and we're looking at a final 4 of Teeny, Sue, Sam, and Andy. Then if that's the case, then you can make the argument where Andy is going to go on and win this game. But I agree with you 1,000%, Josh. You have Genevieve sitting next to you, or you have Rachel. I would almost bet my life savings that more people from the jury will lean their direction, because look, Andy could have an incredible speech. We've both said that he knows what he's talking about out there. Like that first episode was just kind of like a fluke moment for him. He knows what he's doing, but we also can't sit here and act like Genevieve and Rachel don't also know what they're doing and also aren't well spoken. Like Rachel, if you give her the chance to lay everything out, I think she will lay everything out on a platter, feed it straight to you, and could sweep the jury. And I'm not saying that lightly. I could see Rachel having a good enough argument at the end where she sweeps the jury.
Yeah, I mean, and you saw Genevieve like tell that to Teeny. Like she's been doing all these like really deliberate tactical moves, and she's been doing it flawlessly. I'm like, yeah, Genevieve, she's like, you know, hyping Rachel up as a threat to Teeny for like because it's advantageous for her own game. But I think she sees it. I mean, she's going after Rachel for a reason because she pegs her as a threat, and especially when you know she has this advantage and this idol and is doing this stuff behind the scenes that people aren't aware of, and she's winning challenges right after they took Kyle out.
It's 2 challenges now for her.
Yeah,
challenge beast.
I know, challenge beast. Like maybe she could win 5 if she wins out from here on. But she, I don't know. There's a lot there for Rachel. And yeah, I don't know. I do think that she is someone who, especially depending on how, you know, these next. I mean, there's only 3 rounds left, and only 2 votes left, seemingly, if they stick to the same format that they've been doing. She's got a pretty clear case, and she's got not a super clear path, but she has definitely things working in her favor. Yeah, I mean, because I do think that with next week, like Teeny, Rachel, and Sue, they're just gonna be like, oh damn, we just got really bad by Andy, and you know Genevieve and Sam
could be a 3-3 split now.
Yeah, so I think the one thing in Survivor that like always is gonna bring people together is being like either like left out of something or realizing like, oh shoot, we have nowhere to go, so we have no option but to work with each other. I mean, that's why Sam and Genevieve were so tight this time, because they saw the writing on the wall. They're like, oh wow, the other 5 came together, it's just us.
Like, where did that come from?
Yeah, regardless of how Sam and Genevieve felt about each other prior to this episode, they had to work together, and then that like brings them together really tight because like it's in both of their best interests to do that. And so now that is going to bring that like shared you know, trauma, for lack of a better term, like of like being like you by getting got so bad in front of everybody for Rachel and Teeny and Sue. I feel like that is going to bring them together, and then they can use, you know, they have 2 idols and a block of vote. I think between all that, they can definitely win out at this next vote. Because yeah, they're not going to be putting any more idols in there. You know, I think they know that, oh shoot, like if they did this like Andy and Genevieve and Sam, they clearly are like a tight trio right now. So I think that they can.
That 3 goes to the end. Oh, sorry to cut you off. I was just going to say that 3 goes to the end. Are you taking, you know, Sam, Genevieve, and Andy go to the end together? Are you taking Genevieve out of that 3? And then looking at maybe Sam as like a 0 vote finalist, or maybe Andy as a 0 vote finalist?
Oh, that's a tough one. I do think that if both Genevieve, like I agree with you that both Genevieve and Rachel, like if they are in the finals with anyone other than each other, I do think that it's going to be really hard to beat either one of them. So yeah, I don't know about 0 vote finalists necessarily, because Sam will have some things to say, and then Andy will have some things to say.
I could see Sam getting Sierra's vote.
Yeah, but you know, it's such a crapshoot with these final 3s because like in a final 3, people are like, you see a lot more pile-ons than, you know, unless there's someone who's like a really, really obvious like 0 vote getter which I don't see anyone other than maybe Sue as that in this case. So, you know, like last season, it was like a neck and neck between like Kenzie and Charlie, and the season before it was like
Austin and
D and Austin. Yeah. But like if it's 3 people that all might get some votes, that's when you see pile-ons more, because they're just like, oh well, I don't want this person to win, so I don't know. You see more groupthink from the jury in situations like that. So it's hard to predict like how the votes would go in a Genevieve, Sam, Andy final 3, but I do think Genevieve would come out on top in that.
The final 3 that we want is Andy, Rachel, and Genevieve. That's what I think everybody is hoping for. Let's get to some of these comments over here. What you guys have been saying. So just Kyle adds in, go Andy. So we got an Andy fan. Let's see. Kyler adds in, it's the way Soul said, oh, he flipped again on the jury. I didn't even catch that. What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was telling.
See, I think they just are fed up. I think every time Andy does something, it just angers them even more. Like it almost has that feeling. Alejandro, welcome to the stream. I think Sierra being the first person on the jury will be Andy's downfall. I do agree with that. Wes adds in, why not take a shot at Teeny this episode? What else are they showing us?
You're telling me.
Because Caroline is on Josh's team, and that would be too perfect.
Not my best opening draft with you guys. Not my best work.
Let's see. West also adds in, I think, yes, Andy is playing a great game. That's clean and easy to see, but he isn't ever the target. If he had to play from the bottom, could this move work? I just think, and this is the last thing I'll say. I know we've spent this entire podcast so far kind of looking at the Andy situation. I see Andy. I think most people see Andy as a number. That is Andy in this game. That's why I could see him being a 0 vote finalist. I think he's a good Survivor player. And we all heard that Jeff said someone from, was it this season or 48, already got the invite for 50. They said someone this season. I could see Andy being that person that got the invite for 50. Obviously, it's too early to tell. We still got 3 episodes left to see. But if you told me right now that Jeff already spoke with Andy about coming back, I would be like, that makes complete sense. I just don't. I'm having trouble seeing a route to where Andy gets enough votes from the people sitting on the jury. I'll also say Wes has followed me. He just followed me on Instagram. Thank you, Wes. You can check out our Instagrams right before or below our names. So appreciate that, man. Okay. Let's talk about Teeny for a second, because Teeny, I saw someone tweet this out, how she almost, or they almost became the villain this episode. It seemed like they were kind of getting that arc. Were you having the same feeling? Because I texted the group chat and I was like, where did all this hatred for Sam coming from? We just had Sue for the last 5 weeks hating on Kyle, being like, I need him out of this game. I hate him. I hate him. I hate him. And Teeny this episode was so fed up with Sam's shit. Essentially, you know, we see Sam win the reward where they get to go back to the sanctuary and they get to enjoy Italian food and letters from home, which is always nice. Get the families back out there, CBS. Come on, get the families back out. But then Teeny comes back and Teeny's like, I'm going to shut up before I say anything. But Sam thinks he's so good. And I was like, where did this hatred for Sam come from all of a sudden? Is there something I'm missing, Josh?
I don't know where it came from. I do understand how, I don't know, there's 6 days left in the game. You're really getting down to it. You're hungry. You're tired. You miss your family, and letters from home are there, and you don't get it. Like, I get that you're mad, and I get that you might have some choice words for the person who didn't, bring you. But I don't know. I mean, didn't Teeny go on like almost every single reward?
I was thinking that too. I'm like, Teeny's been on rewards.
Like a lot of them. So I don't know. I mean, I get it. I get the anger. I think the degree to which Teeny kept going was a little surprising, but I'm sure there's backstory there that we didn't see. Yeah, but I don't know. That's why you do rewards. That's why you leave people back, because it creates drama like this, and people get mad, and then that leads to game implications. I don't know. I was just really hoping it would be no, we're really going for Sam. Screw this vote split idol thing. We're just gonna pile them all on Sam because of that, or that would have flipped back on Teeny by them putting votes on Teeny instead of Caroline. I was hoping that it would kind of go one of those two directions. But yeah, really, I don't know.
I need to see. Hold on, I'm looking. Let me check the Instagram right now. Who'd you have on your team? Man, you got screwed out a lot this season, Josh.
I sure did. I had Asia, Annika, and now Caroline. And I stand by all 3 of those picks. Obviously it didn't work out, but all 3 of them in different
Andy
really
cost
good
you
and
2
capable
of those
people.
picks.
Andy did? Yeah, he sure did. He sure
Yeah.
did. Yeah. And Rome cost me the other. So
Andy and Rome. What
I
a pair.
know. I know.
The 2
No, I
people of
mean it's
chaos.
like that's the new era, right? Like there's a lot of all these people get cast because they're like going to be good. They don't really cast people like they did 10 years ago, where it's just like, oh, this person's going to suck at the game, but they'll make good TV. They don't really cast people like that a whole lot anymore. So a lot of these people have a pretty viable path to the end. And stuff happens, especially with the small tribes and whatever. Like it's the the fast pace of the game and all the twists and advantages. Like it happens, it happens to the best of them. So
I forgot to this is going to seem so like out of left field here, but I forgot to ask this when we were talking about like possible final threes. I know, like myself, you really like how things were in the older seasons and stuff like that. You prefer, if I remember correctly, you prefer a final 2, right? To a final 3.
I could go on and on for a whole podcast about that. Like I will die on that hill. That like final 3 is bad and worse. But it's not like, oh, I think Shot in the Dark is good for the game. I think it's bad for the game. Like, sure, you can debate that. Final 3 is just not.
It's bad. Yeah,
like,
imagine
not.
Imagine we get a final 2. Like it's final 2 this season, not final 3.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's final 3. But imagine we got a final 2 of Genevieve and Rachel. You are going to be on the edge of your seat, not knowing. But if it's like it. This is how I like to put it. When people are like, I don't get, like, what's the difference? If there's 3 people, more people to choose from, there's a bigger chance that the votes kind of get spread out. When you have 2 people, like, let me put it like this, and I'm going to try to describe this the best way I can. Let's say Abraham was here with us like he usually is, right? Me, Josh, and Abraham. Yeah. Now you're like, okay, Josh played the best game. I want to vote for Josh. But then you have one person who's like, I don't know. Randy's pretty cool. I'm going to throw a vote Randy's way. Or maybe 2 people are like that. You're looking at a final vote of, I don't know, 6-0 is basically what. But if it's just 2 of us, if it's me against Josh, maybe there's a few more people I could sway. If that makes sense, am I making sense, Josh? You probably would have been a better person to describe this. But like, it's a tighter contest. It's almost like
it is for sure.
Not to bring up politics, but like politics are usually a 2-horse race. Yeah.
Yes. And like when there's a third horse in the race, like you're like, oh man, I really want this person to win, but I don't know if they can beat this other person who I definitely don't want to win. So I might throw my vote on my second favorite choice, because I definitely don't want that third choice to win, which like is not the point. But also, I mean, one of my things with this is like we've already spent a lot of time tonight talking about how many different directions this could go, like in the end of the game, because it's just like, wow, there's like a lot here, a lot happening, and it seems like we could potentially have this like 3-on-3 like war to the end. But like with only the stakes are so much lower since there's only 2 votes left. Like you only need to survive 2 more votes. So that means 4 of the 6 people left in the game, their goal is just final 4. And then like, obviously everyone wants to like win the challenge or win fire or get brought, but that's like 3 out of 4, 3 different ways to make it to the end. And all of them don't rely on like alliances and votes and stuff like that. So like it is so much more interesting when you watch the game get played all the way out, because even if, right, say that Sue and Rachel and Teeny, say that they use an idol or a block of vote or whatever, and they win the majority next week. So then it's like, okay, cool, 3 of them against Sam and Andy, or Sam and Genevieve and Andy, whoever. Say they take out Genevieve, so it's like those 3 against Sam and Andy. In a final 3 season, they have no reason to like even think about turning on each other, because it's just like, we're just going to pick the other 2 off and boom. And we've seen so many seasons from like Cook Islands when they introduced the final 3 all the way until they introduced final 4 fire making, where like the finale or end game was kind of like because it was just there was an alliance of 3, they picked off the other 2, and that was that. But when there's only 2 seats, like you have to be a lot more on your toes, where it's just like, okay, cool, I have this tight 3 with Teeny can be like, I have this tight 3 with Sue and Rachel, but like only 2 of us are going to sit at the end, and I want to be one of the people who is there. So then it like it adds a lot more strategic layers and implications to every decision that you're going to make, because it's not just like, oh, I'm going to pick off these other two and make it to the 3 and then I'm good. Like, it's, you know, you play it all the way out. And it kills me that they have spent like, what, 3/4 of the show's whole run now not doing that, because yes,
and the fire making challenge adds to this as
that
well.
Made it worse, even worse. Yeah. Like I mean, it is. I think part of the original reason is just like, oh, it sucks to be like, you know, the quote unquote best person to get voted off in 3rd place. Like, yes, that sucks. It does. But the name of the game is like, you vote each other out until there's only one person left. That is why we all watch this show. That is why 50 million people.
And the best person has been getting voted out at like 5 anyways. Like
it happens anyway. Yeah,
exactly.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to stop myself there because I could just keep going. But like, I think
we need a whole podcast about this.
Yeah, no, for sure. But this season would be so much better and so much more interesting if there was like 4 votes left instead of just 2. Like, yes, that's why we watch this show. Yeah. So anyway, I
ruined Josh's night bringing that up.
No. I get like this at every point this season, you know, towards the season. Yeah. Like, I get like, you know, this is really good. And I'm interested in all these people and I like these people and I want to see how these things play out.
But it could be better.
It like waters it down so much. Yeah. By cutting the game short.
I agree 1,000%. That's the problem. Is I'm like, if I get to ranting, this will be an hour long. Like, let's see. We got a few comments, and then we're gonna take our break here. Carmen adds in, we knew Caroline was going when she started gushing.
I texted our group chat about that. I was just like, oh, and Caroline's saying I can see the win. I'm like, oh man, I really hope that's like her winner's edit and not like the sign that she's going tonight.
Oh yeah,
here we are.
It was a good moment. And Hollow, welcome to the stream. Haven't seen you before. I agree with Josh's takes. Hollow also adds in, am I crazy to say I can see all of these remaining people except Sue having a chance to win?
I don't think that's crazy. No. I could see it. I could see it.
I don't see Teeny
of the other 5.
I mean, I could see Teeny, but
I think Teeny is the least likely after Sue, but I could see it depending on how these next couple things.
Just not Sue.
These next couple votes go. Yeah, just not Sue.
Well, we're gonna take a quick break. Let us know in the comments. What do you want to talk about when we get back? Because I know one thing we have to talk about, and we do have to kind of talk about this alliance that formed and whether or not we think it's going to stick together and what we can expect going into the final 6, part 1 of this 2-part finale next week. We will be right back.
Really in the middle of making a hit TV show.
Last season, 10 of reality television's greatest villains came together under one roof and made television history. So obviously, we had to do it again.
You might know me from The Real Housewives of New Jersey,
Bad Girls Club,
Big Brother, Original Survivor winner, RuPaul's Drag Race.
Same house.
Welcome to the murder house.
Same awful host. Oh, hi. And brand new iconic villains.
Welcome to House of Villains Season 2. Oh my God!
Ding dong, the bitch is back, and I'm gonna run this mother.
Holy crap. I would watch this show.
We're losing our freaking mind.
You have an evil laugh.
I'm a f***ing villain, bitch.
Oh, damn, we're all typecast. There is no such thing as the House of Heroes. That's lame.
You were gonna come into the House of Villains? This is my mother house.
They think I'm delicate like a little flower, but no, bitch, I'm a bomb.
Look at the money we're spending on these explosions.
What's your name?
You don't know who I am?
This is my classroom, so you better follow my rules.
Or else.
Y'all disgust me. I don't give about any of you.
I'm gonna ride you until you tell me the truth.
Ride me then.
Your Prince Albert couldn't take it, but I'm still gonna give it a try.
Okay, I don't know what that means, but...
Once again, they're here to outsmart.
I have a little cock in here.
Out-manipulate.
Now I know why they got rid of you season 1.
And out-camera time each other.
Welcome to New York, New Jersey. Kiss my ass.
Poke the bear. You're not gonna like who you see.
Whoever is able to make it to the end will win $200,000 and the title of America's greatest supervillain.
I am the supervillain!
I am a certified genius that you let into this house. When you take a shot at the king, you better not miss.
We need a medic!
Don't you understand? I am the villain.
He hasn't been the mastermind. Back now!
I'm so scared. Oh. Yo.
Suck my
House of Villains, the total hit show returns October 9th on E! and stream from the beginning on Peacock.
This should be House of Cuckoo Beans, not House of Villains.
I gotta be honest, I have not watched House of Villains this season. Have you watched it, Josh?
No, I thought it was on E Network.
Yeah. I don't watch
have
that much reality TV outside of Survivor, but definitely thank you, E, for sending that to us and letting us be a partner with you guys. Definitely go check that out. I think the season's still airing. Pretty sure.
I just keep up with it on Wikipedia. I don't know.
Is Hatch doing good?
No, he got out second.
Oh,
spoiler alert! But
that's tough.
It happened a few weeks ago. Whatever.
I got a couple pictures to show you guys that I decided to do our long commercial break because winter weather is happening and the wind outside my apartment is so loud that I was like, there's no way that's the wind right now. Like I can hear the whistling. So I looked outside. It's like, I just had to make sure my car didn't blow away. But that was a lame dad joke. Anyways, we have new holiday apparel out for you guys. Sorry. Let's see if it focuses. With a new logo and everything. I don't know why this isn't focusing, but you see it. Go check that out now. Go grab it. New holiday apparel. The link is in our description below. So go check out the store, or you can go to survivornowpodcast.com. And I'm sad that my camera's not going to. This is an awesome picture. It's Rachel and Genevieve. Yes, there we go.
Yep.
And then did you see the Martin Holmes posted that and said, inject it into my veins? Like, to me, it almost feels like it's like a movie showdown. Like these two women, I don't know why I'm getting I know it's not the same as Wendell and Dom because Wendell and Dom were working together, but that's the feeling that I'm getting with this. I'm like, both of them deserve to win this season. And one of them is going to get screwed. One of them is going to be looked at as that, what could have been winner.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the last time that we would have had two women like that who are kind of squaring off and it's
because you wouldn't count One World.
No, because they were all in it together. Maybe Go Wrong towards at the end you have Michelle and Sydney and Aubrey who all have their own cases, but they were working together for a lot of that post merge too. I have to go back a little further. But yeah, either way, it's really, really interesting, and I'm really excited to see how it plays out with those two specifically. And I do hope that one of those two comes out on top for this season.
Again, I don't want to start the rant again, but how badass would a Rachel versus Genevieve final team?
Oh, so
CBS could hype that up like the ultimate showdown, and if only. But we did get a huge alliance this episode. It was the main alliance that we heard about over and over and over again. And it was Operation Italy, which got formed at the reward. Andy switched sides again to form an alliance with Sam and Genevieve. We've already talked a lot about Andy this episode. We've talked about Genevieve. Let's talk about Sam a little bit. How much does this help him moving forward? At all? Do we think this group is going to stick together, or is it almost like, look, we're at the final six. There's going to be flip-flopping all around. It's every person for themselves now.
I think it helps him a lot because now all of a sudden, that kind of broke the gate wide open. When before he was outnumbered, either 5-2 or 4-3, however you want to look at it. But it was very well could have been him tonight. I think it was a big mistake and misplay on the part of everybody else to not pile all the votes on him if they knew that that Genevieve had the idol. But yeah, I don't know. A lot of mistakes were made there. But I do think that it was definitely the best move for him. He is in a way better position right now and with a clearer path to the end than he did going into this episode.
Well, we have to talk about the plan that the part of this plan that we haven't really touched on so far in this episode is that fake idol that Genevieve created. I love how she was like, I need an extra set of hands, instantly started using like her feet. Yeah. I'm like, wow, we're really going like back to cave times here, like using the feet to as some extra, fingers there. Solid looking fake idol. But not to get us back into a rant, this is another problem with Survivor right now when you can just throw beads on a string and it's like super believable.
Yeah, I think they do that on purpose now so that they can make it more, but like, whatever. I just, I'm still just like having the fake idol. I don't know. Even
well, and Teeny should
have
asked.
There's so many things they did wrong. Yeah. Teeny should have done that, or Teeny should have been like, okay, yeah, they're playing this on Genevieve. Genevieve showed me. Genevieve trusts me, so let's like put the votes on Sam. Or like Caroline and Sue. If Sue's like, oh, I'm gonna play my idol for you, like, like put all the votes on one, and then if Genevieve does play the idol, like say you put all your votes on Genevieve and she plays this idol that she doesn't have, but like in the event that it is real and she does play it, then Sue, you just play your idol for Caroline. Like you have the backup plan when you know all the votes are going.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that. They knew the votes were going to Caroline.
Yeah. It was like so many mistakes were made there,
Well, my first thought was when Genevieve was talking to us in confessional, and she's like, I got to somehow show my idol, my fake idol, to Teeny. One, I didn't really believe the story that Genevieve was saying when Teeny was like, they're leaning you. And Genevieve was just like, okay, good. What? And she is what I'm assuming going down. Yep, it is. We're good. Just keep them on me.
Yeah.
It just seemed too like, I know I'm not out there. I know they're running on absolutely no sleep, but it seemed too nonchalant to me. Like she's just like, oh, yep, put all the votes on me. I'll play my idol. She didn't even give a plan or anything. She's just like, oh, I'll just play my idol. And then also when she was like, I got to show Teeny the idol, I thought she would show her a little bit longer. It was literally like, someone's coming.
And I think, yeah. And I think they, that worked out nicely in their favor. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I really have so many questions about how the Caroline, Sue, Rachel, Teeny, like what they decided. You saw Caroline and Teeny at Tribal Council, like being like nodding at each other and like, being like, oh yeah, no, this is good. But like, what was their plan? How did they arrive at the decisions that they made at? Was it like, oh, are we just trying to appease Andy? I'm sure all this will come out in the exit interviews with Caroline tomorrow. But like, there's a lot that they didn't show us of how that alliance like made all of their plans. That is good, because if they did tell us more, it would have kind of ruined the suspense, because it's just like, okay, if we knew going into Tribal that like they're not going to play their idol, they are splitting the vote, then we know the plan's going to work. So, but I just have so many questions, because like, how did you botch that? And like, why did Caroline have to be the one who took the fall for it?
And then there's Sue.
Yeah. And then there's Sue. And she clocked it. She was like, no, I'll play my idol for you. Like, there's no way. I don't want them to, to go out on your hands. Like, and she didn't do it. So like, I don't know.
It was an entertaining episode, but
for sure.
It was still like, it wasn't the best gameplay. It wasn't. I mean, it was terrific gameplay from one side.
Yes.
Subjectively, like you said, it's a good episode. But they did your draft pick dirty again.
They sure did. And she was like, and it was like they clocked her as a threat. And that's exactly, it's exactly what Caroline was trying to do, right? She was like hiding behind Rachel, where it's like, okay, Rachel is the one who, if they come for someone, they're going to go for her. But then even then it was like, okay, yeah, Caroline or Teeny. So she was very well positioned, even like almost insulated enough to avoid a flip and a failed vote split and all that. Almost good enough. And immunity challenge gone wrong. Because I do think that had Rachel lost and she were the one who went tonight, I do think Caroline would have been able to recover from this, but
it will always go down as like maybe what could have been. Josh, going into the final six, and we'll wrap up with this because this was a pretty easy episode to cover everything. what are your expectations going into this 2-part? Wicked has ruined everything. Dune and Wicked. We had Dune Part 1, Part 2, and Wicked Part 1, Part 2. And now we have Survivor 47 finale, Part 1, Part 2. Are you into this? This is stupid?
I mean, I think it's just the last 2 episodes.
Tacky.
And you're just branding it as a 2-part finale. I can see if you had I don't know, 2 days back to back, it's just we're going to do a special episode on Wednesday and Thursday. I can see that, but whatever. I just see next week as the second to last episode, but I think they probably will vote out final 6, and then maybe because they're calling it a 2-part finale, they might end with a cliffhanger.
Jeff said it was going to end in a cliffhanger, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so I think it's going to end with either right before the votes or something where the person, whoever gets 5th place, is going to get voted off right at the very beginning of the actual finale.
I think it's going to be even lamer than that. I could see it being you vote out the 6th person, and I could see them ending on a challenge.
Yeah,
a final showdown at a challenge. It comes down to 2 people desperately need immunity, and one of them's about to win it.
Or it's going into tribal council. Yeah, I don't know. I think that calling it a 2-part finale gives them the leverage to end on a cliffhanger, because one thing I love about Survivor is like they've stooped pretty low in a lot of ways over the years, but they've never done the whole like ending episodes on cliffhangers and then just like someone randomly gets voted off like 10 minutes into the next episode. Other reality shows do that. I'm so glad we don't do that. But, you know,
don't ever
starts and ends the same way.
If this goes well, they're gonna start doing it. That's my fear. But they could be a dick too. They could have like we still have 2 idols in play. So they could have someone stand up to play an idol and then call it after that. And then it's like, well, who's going home now?
Something like that. I do think they probably will go to Tribal Council for Final 5 to end that finale, to end that episode, but we'll see. I mean, they did in Survivor Panama, they did end that on a cliffhanger where it was like they had a whole episode for Final 4, which that was back when the finale was always 4. So they had a whole episode for Final 4, reward challenge, community challenge, because they were ahead of schedule that season. And then there was a 2-2 tie between Suri and Danielle. And then they were going to go into like a fire making tiebreaker. And then right before the fire making started, they ended it and said to be continued. So the finale of that season started with
even lamer. They end on fire making.
Yeah. But back when they did that though, that was when the finale was on. I mean, the second to last episode was a Thursday and the finale was a Sunday. So even that was a little bit more palatable. But whatever. 2 weeks from now, I mean, I guess a lot of you guys will be in New York at the Bryson Wynn finale, but like, you know, we'll be here like celebrating the end of a good season.
Gosh, I gotta figure out.
Winner.
I have to figure out how we're going to do the after show. It's just going to be Josh talking the entire time.
Probably not for me. I mean, I'm going to a watch party here in Milwaukee where they have like
we're going to we'll do something grand to end the season. I just don't know what it is yet. Hollow adds in new twist. Someone on the jury loses their vote. This actually happened in Survivor Australia, and I hate it.
Co-wrong too. Survivor Co-wrong too.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's one of my least favorite. Like if you're on the jury, get your vote. But could you imagine if they start doing that? You could lose your right to vote, jury, if you can't complete this puzzle.
Oh man. Yeah.
That would be the day Survivor probably dies. I'm going to be honest with you. Well, we have a lot of stuff planned for you guys coming up here on Survivor Now. Busy schedule for the week ahead. On Friday, noon Eastern. Join Jack and Will for Survivor Stock Watch. They will break down the remaining 6 castaways. Had to think for a second. And they will basically update you on the power rankings. They'll show you the edgic. They will take an analytical look at the show to tell you who the edit is saying is probably going to win this damn thing. And then on Saturday, got something for you. 3 p.m. Eastern time. Matthew, Phil, and Ollie will take you scene by scene. Make sure they cover everything that we might have missed. They take you picture by picture. It is always an enjoyable time. So join them Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And then Kara, the lovely Kara, is also in Orlando, so there will be no Survivor Social episode tomorrow. That is being pushed back to next Monday. Very late episode for you guys. Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Join Tegwith and Kara as they break down everything that happened this episode and give you their opinions on what could be coming next week. And I know a lot of people are wondering what we're going to be doing during the off season starting in January. Myself and the Survivor Now crew will be ranking every season of Survivor 1 to 47. We are going to make an official list that we hope to add on to starting with season 48. So once 48 concludes, we'll take a look at the full list and be like, it goes here. So you guys have a running list of what we think are the best seasons. And also, if you have someone new getting into Survivor, you can show them the list and say, hey, these are the 5 best seasons according to Survivor Now. It's going to be a process. It's going to be a multi-week process. So we're starting early January. Right now it's on Mondays, but it could get moved around. And we will start with seasons 1 to 10. So Survivor Borneo to Survivor Palau. Where do they rank on the all-time Survivor list? There's some very, very legendary good seasons on this list. And then Marquesas. I'm kidding. I don't have a problem with Marquesas. I was going to make the joke with Survivor All-Stars is what I was going to do.
Or Thailand, too. Thailand's right there, man.
Not the hate on Marquesas, no. You can also join our Patreon. I know we haven't posted there in a minute, but we've got some exciting stuff planned out for you guys over on the Patreon. I think part of that ranking series will be Patreon exclusive. So it's going to be part on YouTube, part on our Patreon. So make sure to tune in for that. Link is in the bio, by the way. Check out our merch. Our holiday merch just dropped. You can check it all out. Link in the description below, or go to survivornowpodcast.com to grab you some merch and represent your favorite podcast. Follow us on social media, Instagram at Survivor Now Podcast and X at Survivor Now Pod. And then don't forget, if you are a new fan, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We really do appreciate all your support. You can also check out this podcast on Spotify. Leave us a 5-star rating. Spotify Wrapped just came out today. A lot of you had us as your number 1 podcast or in your top 5. We really do appreciate all the support. If you do have us as a number 1 podcast or top 5, top 10, go ahead and tag us. We'd love to share that as well. I think the last thing that needs to be said before we log out here, did you hear the news that Jeff Probst put it out there, All Winners Survivor did, that there could be a huge premiere party hosted by CBS happening in New York for Survivor 48. Did you hear about this, Josh?
I did hear that. I'm really curious. I mean, it seems like they've been kind of soft launching these like little pop-up episodes. I mean, they did the thing in the summer in Nashville, and then they've had some of these advanced screenings. Like I went to the one they did in Madison, Wisconsin.
Oh, how was that?
Well, for the Gabe boot episode, it was really good. Like,
who was there? Any survivors?
Andrea hosted it because she lives in Milwaukee too.
Oh, love Andrea.
Madison's only like an hour away. Yeah, and then Reina Sash from Nicaragua was there because he went to the University of Wisconsin, and then Davey from David vs. Goliath was there. I don't remember his connection. I think he like has a cousin in Madison or something. But then he was at Bryson Wynn in Chicago the next day.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, those 3 were there. No players from the current season were there as far as I could tell. But it was really fun. It was a really well put on event. It was great to watch the whole episode like without commercials and to see it like a day ahead of time, and to get, I don't know, just be in this environment with other Survivor fans, and the excitement of all of it was really great.
I mean,
so anyway,
what do we think it's going to be? Do we think, like, if we had to make a prediction for it, do we think it's going to be like just this is what I'm confused about. Is it just going to be like a regular pop-up? Or I feel like if they're posting it and being like, there's a big Survivor premiere event planned, like, I'm thinking Jeff Probst. It's got to be like a hosted event from Jeff Probst in New York City, because, I mean, he was in New York for like last season. And then like maybe the entire cast is there. Like, I'm just trying to think of what they do. Or is it just another advanced screening of the premiere?
No, I mean, it seems like I don't know. I mean, I'm really curious to see, but I guess they could just like rent out any venue that has like however many hundreds or thousands of seats and just like play it on the screen. Like I'm sure, I don't know. I mean, I guess they do that for sports all the time, right? Like they have watch parties. Like if your team is playing like, for the championship, but they're in like a different city. they'll have venues where you can do that. So I don't know. I imagine it might be something like that.
Live podcast afterwards, the On Fire podcast.
Yeah. Oh man. Or like back to the good old days where they do the like a premiere at Madison Square Gardens instead of do the finales there anymore. Like yeah, maybe.
Hey, if we could get any type of live like entertainment, Jeff, that would be incredible. Like a live pre-show or something. Hire Survivor Now. I've been saying that we should have like Saturday morning college football like pre-shows for Survivor. I want to be able just to let you guys know, if you didn't know, there is a Survivor pre-show. Make sure you tune in Wednesdays, 7 p.m. We will take you right up to the episode and break everything down. I've always been pitching this idea. So if it ever happens, I think I should get
I have not heard of any other podcast that does that. So,
Yeah. So, I think we should get the credit. But other than that, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I know we mentioned the weather. It's getting snowy outside and all that, so it might be a little weird to say, but be safe driving and everything. It's that time of year where the roads are definitely slick, so I'll put that out there. We're getting closer and closer to the holidays and getting closer and closer to the end of Survivor 47. I know it's been such a great season. Only 2 episodes left. Join us next week. We will be right back on YouTube, SurvivorNowPodcast.com, X, all of that good stuff with the 2-part finale pre-show, and then following the episode with our after show. We will see you then. Have a good night, guys.